Hi everyone, welcome to eLearnChat, where talk, it's knowledge. And today we're going to be talking and maybe seeing some art while we're at it. We've got with us Linda Joy. She is our co-host, our voiceover talent, and she's a good friend. How are you today, Linda?
I'm doing great.
How's the weather, by the way, where you are? Are you guys getting cold already?
Oh, it's wonderful. It does get a bit nippy here and there, but it's really today. The is really warm. It's t-shirt weather.
Yeah, we're 70 down here, and at night we're in the kind of low 50s, 52, 53, so it's not bad. Finally getting a little cool. We've been near the hundreds, which is really rare for where we are. Anyway, let's start our intro. And we're back, and today we've got with us an old friend. We've got some weird beep going on, too. He is Bryan Jones from eLearningArt.com. And there he is. Hey, Bryan, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Rick.
Oh, we're glad you could make it. And you kind of disappeared for a couple of years. We said, he was off planet for a while, but he's back, and he's been busy. I've been noticing you've been doing a lot of emails lately and kind of getting back into your normal swing of things. And it's good to see you back. And what have you been up to?
Well, I was hiding under a rock because I had two kids. So I have a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, and life's been a little crazy, and also just moved from Santa Monica up to Lake Tahoe. So nice. It's been busy.
Yeah, that would do it. I remember when you came last time was probably almost 2 years ago into our offices, and that's when I think you were just about expecting or getting, I think, yeah, right at the beginning stages, and well, that's good. So business is going well. You've been busy doing a lot of new things with the company. What's going on new with eLearningArt?
Well, I'd say there's the standard membership releases where we just keep out cranking out new character images. Mm-hmm. That happens every week. So that library, I think when I first met you, Rick, I had about 1,000 images, and now it's over 40,000. So
40,000?
Wow. Yeah. So it's grown a lot over the last 7 years. And then the newest thing is a launch of a whole PowerPoint line as well. And I haven't even announced that to my email list or user base yet. So this is the first public mention of the new PowerPoint library.
That's great. What are you going to be doing with the PowerPoint?
Well, I think it still supports the same type of user with maybe a slightly different shift, more on presentations, on the design of graphics, and maybe some more instructor-led courses instead of e-learning web-based. But still the same market. It's helping people design who may not have design skills and be able to start, not instead of a blank screen, be able to start with something that already looks good.
That's great. That's great.
And you will still have the characters and the backgrounds, Bryan?
Oh yeah, lots of characters. That still makes the characters make up, I'd say, 95% of the library on an asset basis, and that's the core of what the library is. It's what helps people build scenarios, tell stories, and they're good for both e-learning and presentations. Although for e-learning, you need like hundreds of images of the same character. For a presentation, you might not need quite as many.
Yes. Remind us, how many postures do you have of the different characters? They have different positions?
Sure. So it started, the very first photo shoot I did, I think I did 70 photos of one character and then clipped out the background so you can kind of composite and create your own scene. But users have made suggestions over the years, and it's turned into most sets have at least 100, and the business casual sets all have over 200 images now. So the number of poses and the number of angles continues to grow, and I think that's a good thing.
Yes, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think we're doing, on average now, it's about one day of shooting per month of character images. So it keeps me busy.
That's pretty good. Now, how did you wind up getting? I know we talked about this in the past, and you were an e-learning developer, or you managed e-learning projects. I remember when we first met. How did you wind up getting into this particular business?
It was my own pain. So the post-business school, I was doing a consulting job where I was building e-learning. I hadn't done it in a few years, but post-business school, I had a consulting project, and I was trying to build a course and couldn't find images that would tell a story or do a scenario the way that I wanted to. And I started just asking other people what they were using, and it seemed like a real pain in the e-learning community. And so just went out there and did my first photo shoot before I really even knew what I wanted, and built up the library that would be my dream library as a developer. And made that available for people to purchase, and then ultimately turned it into a membership site where people can become a member and have access to the entire library.
Oh, that's great. I know we've used your assets in quite a few courses, and always well received. So that's,
Thanks,
from our experience, people like
I know
it.
some of the projects that I voiced I recognize some of your characters.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. It's
I'd love to see. I'd love to see those examples, because I don't match a voice with the character, so I want to see what it sounds like for each character.
Yeah, they probably get different voices depending on what e-learning company then produces.
Oh, for sure.
Content. But they're so great because within the e-learning project, you're really communicating. It enables the developers to use context to promote their information, because they have your characters and they can put them in a scene.
Yeah, you can kind of build your own story, mix and match the poses and the characters you want to tell the story that you want. I think that's probably the biggest shortfall with your standard stock photography sites, is they're really meant for finding the one perfect marketing photo. They're not meant for telling a digital story, which is more what e-learning, good e-learning is all about.
Yes.
Have you thought of doing things like adding video to some of the characters or anything like that?
Yeah, I've looked at video. I think the toughest thing with doing video characters is the flexibility in taking still images and then adding voiceover or text to it is 100% flexible. When you start doing video, you can do reaction shots, but you can't really have them talking or saying things unless it's very common phrases. So I think you lose the flexibility when you move to a video format, and that's one of the reasons I've stayed away from that.
Yeah, you can only do things like "great job," "hey, well done," and so that's about it. Not a lot of other things, because you could have a million responses.
Yeah, totally.
Well, with the content, they really do come alive. I mean, I've looked at a lot of your work, and I don't think they need to move. I mean, you're drawn into the story, into the content, and they become alive.
Sure, yeah, and there's effects that you can use that make it feel almost like video, where you're doing like appear, disappear with the character from one pose to another as the voiceover is going. So they can be talking in one pose, the second talking pose, and then they're thinking, and then they're happy, and then they're confused. You can kind of sequence through a number of poses and have a video feel without being video.
Yes.
And it does work pretty well with like that, because you could, like you said, you could have them standing up, maybe the hand out, next scene the hands down, next scene both hands, and it looks pretty seamless with the fades. You don't really notice.
You can do in most authoring tools. They'll have some sort of either appear, disappear, or some fade that you can use, and that works really well. It's interesting what you were just talking about with the multiple talking poses. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made in the first photo shoot. Is I was just capturing one pose of everything. So one talking pose, one listening pose, and you'd get stuck. You couldn't sequence lots of talking. So you'd be like talking and then smiling, and you just be going back and forth between two photos. Now we shoot like 5 or 6 talking poses.
Well, we both live in California, so that's kind of the normal zombie approach to life. Sit, smile.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you also offer music?
For
background?
No, so we don't do any stock music. Well, that's not true. I commissioned one stock music track that actually I give away for free. I was doing I did a photo slideshow of my dad's artwork. He's a metal sculptor, and he actually has a life-size chess set that's at Facebook. And so I commissioned a song. We created that. It was a composer out of Los Angeles, actually, and I give away that one for free. You can get it on my blog. And the song is called Happy Hardy. And I'm looking into doing some music, but this is just dipping my toes into stock music in the last month.
Interesting.
Yes.
You know, speaking of metal sculpting and things like that, or have you ever? I was in Sammy's camera in Santa Barbara several months ago, and we walked in and they had these prints, but they were done in aluminum. They're gorgeous,
cool.
Absolutely gorgeous. And they would take the whatever camera shot you sent them and make an aluminum print out of it, and
Wow.
it's about $200 to make one of those, poster size, absolutely beautiful.
And how much does it resemble the original photo?
You know, pretty close, pretty close.
That's cool.
But with a metallic glint to it. I just thought it was really unique, something totally different. I hadn't really seen that before.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. And like I said, for $200, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's a lot less than you'd pay for buying somebody else's print. So
That's true. That's absolutely true.
People can also use your images for splash screens and for all kinds of. There's so many different uses. For
Yeah,
the
yeah.
work you do.
definitely, I think the splash screen or the intro screen is one of the more popular ones to have a character kind of introducing a course, or just creating a funny scene between two characters that catches somebody's eye, and then building from that. I think you have all sorts of flexibility in the types of stuff that you build.
Yeah.
You know, lately we've been doing a lot of characters, not in the piece, but in the section breaks.
Okay.
That's what they wanted. They didn't want a lot of people. It is funny what clients want. Some clients want it really people warm, friendly. Others cold, hard, to the point. And it's always, you're going, well, this is training. You have to, no, we don't care. We're not cold. Okay. It's an interesting approach, but we are usually able to at least get some characters or some humanity into it, at least in a section break, or like you said, in the title pages or outro pages, just so that people don't feel it's just completely industrial and there's no life to it whatsoever.
Yes.
So I personally like people pictures. I think they really add a lot to it. And most of our career doing e-learning, which has been officially about 21 years, we've had a lot of people in our courses, and that usually was a big differentiator between those that didn't.
Yeah, there's some number too, like with Facebook ads, that when it's an ad that has somebody's face in it, it's clicked some multiple of times over ones that are just text.
And especially if it's somebody cute, right?
Yeah, I think overall just any face helps, but
yeah. But they did say, for example, they've done a lot of studies on this, that if you have a guy and you have a girl and the girl's really pretty, they usually will click on her or choose her, or she'll sell more. It's really interesting, but that is just the reality of what people in general look for. And of course that changes with time and it changes with audiences, but at least about 10, 15 years ago, that's the way it kind of was. It might be changing now a little bit the other way, where maybe it's not that important. But back when, you kind of had to look at the audience, and that was the marketing side of it. What the audience would perceive and what would make them click or push to keep going in more of a sales or information gathering process. Yeah,
I think it's interesting if you're doing something like that, but then it doesn't have anything to do with what you clicked on, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes there can be a disconnect.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
yeah. Well, the great thing with all your different characters, and they really are diverse. I mean, you really do have a huge library. The nice thing is that the e-learning professional building a course can really base it on context. It's not just, let's say, voice talents in the background, just talking, but you really have those characters, and you can really, it's not somebody preaching, these are real life scenarios that you can build, and it makes learning so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when it comes down to it, learning is about teaching people, right? People doing things. There's some gap between what they're able to do and what you'd like them to be doing, and you want that person to do something. So being able to make that task or whatever it is that they're learning relatable is useful. So scenarios, stories, bringing people in for both of those. Those are my two favorite uses for the library that I have, for sure, and also the type of training that I like to build.
Yeah, it becomes a true job aid. People can really relate. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it does, is it adds the context.
People can relate. Was that for us, or no? I'm just kidding.
That's a plug for you guys.
That was a good word we chose. I mean, we've actually gotten a lot of offers to buy that URL. It's really interesting.
I was actually thinking about that today when I was setting up the special promotion. Was that relate.com is a pretty awesome URL.
It's a short word. We bought that one in 1995 when there were not many. We were pretty much early on, and we got into the whole internet thing because one of our clients was Motorola at the time, Motorola Paging, and they said no internet, no email, no work. We had email within a day. I mean, we were using other methods that weren't email before that, because email was brand new in those days. But we within I think a day, we had email. Within 3 days, we had a website, not very pretty, but it was a website, and we had our business with them. But it was really interesting how it's changed since then. But we just got lucky. We came up with the name, and it wound up available back then.
Yeah, good luck today finding a URL that's 6 letters long that's phonetic, right?
It's a tough one.
It doesn't exist.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a really tough one. And originally we called ourselves Relate because we were a database design and architecture company. We did database design, and we also did a lot of IT work and relational databases. Relate. So we figured, okay, let's call it Relate. And
it's nice and flexible.
Then we said, but if we'll become marriage counselors, Relate. Hey, that works too. So, and we kept it at that, and it's worked. And I keep joking that one day maybe that'll be our retirement money, because we've gotten some pretty high offers. So far, we've turned everybody down, but nobody's given us something we might jump at. But we'll see.
I missed my opportunity. LindaJoy.com was available at one point, and I missed it. And now it's like an awards thing. So I had to go with LindaJoyVoiceover.com.
Yep.
Just missed it. I'm not an early adopter like you, Rick.
Well, no, but eLearningArt's a good name too, because it's very specific to e-learning, and it's art.
Yeah, it was interesting in trying to figure out, could I extend that to PowerPoint, and was it okay? And I think e-learning, when I was in my office in LA, it was a shared office space, but I printed out eLearningArt and the Word and carried it around. I felt so strongly that people would think it's only in the training space,
right,
that it's e-learning, but really outside of our e-learning industry, people were thinking that, oh, maybe I sold artwork, or
interesting,
or I was training people how to draw, or so I felt like I was able to extend that brand a little bit as well.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's a tricky one. And you look at like iStock Photo; they also sell videos and other stuff. It's you kind of pigeonhole yourself sometimes if you pick the wrong.
That's true.
One.
But if you notice, iStock just says iStock, so they keep it to that. They don't try to make it anything else, and they've gotten expensive again. For a while,
they've been buying up some smaller sites, and then typically what happens is they buy them, and then the prices on those old plans go up. Same thing happens. Dollar Photo Club,
yes,
was one that people were really excited about. And Shutterstock, I think Shutterstock was the one that bought them.
Okay.
And now you can't sign up for it anymore, and images are a lot more expensive.
There's one right now, Canva. Have you seen Canva.com? That's used a lot for internet-based art. And it's a site. They give you like 1 million graphics. It's graphics you see everywhere else, but it's like 1 million. A lot of them are free, and then you pay $1 for everything else. I think it's a single-use license, right? So you pay $1 thing you use it on. But my wife uses Canva to create like social media images and for her site. Because they also have you have essentially an authoring tool, like an easy to use Photoshop or Paint built in. Yeah, we have a subscription to it. I don't know how much we've used it. I haven't been one of the ones using it, but it looks pretty easy too. And if you want something like, I want a Facebook ad, You just look for Facebook ad. There they are. They have like 50 of them or 100 of them.
Yeah.
And you choose the one you want and modify it.
I still am
Nice.
doing most of my graphic design, even for social media images and quotes and that sort of stuff. I still use PowerPoint, and I think that's one of the hidden features of PowerPoint is you can export out as a PNG or JPEG or create a movie from it. It's all about setting up your file size the right one so that you can convert inches to pixels.
Yep.
But yeah, I do my blog headers that way. I do all my Twitter images, everything that I do is in PowerPoint.
You know, Adobe right now is pointing a little lightning bolt at you, but you know, it's true. I used to do 80% in Photoshop. I will now do 80% in PowerPoint over Photoshop because it works really well for certain kind of graphics. It works beautifully well for certain kinds of graphics. And people go, really? PowerPoint? I mean, no, it does. They've got some great art tools in there, and they're easy. You can even remove backgrounds, and it doesn't do a bad job of it.
Yeah.
Well, Bryan, you have some fabulous tutorials on putting things together in PowerPoint. You
Thanks.
really, you
Thanks.
really
I
make
kinda
it
wanna-
look fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I've kind of made a shift on my YouTube channel over the last month or two and doing more PowerPoint stuff instead of e-learning. Just finding that there's a little bit more traction, and I feel like I can do shorter tutorials that I think are more impactful via YouTube when I'm focusing on PowerPoint instead of just general learning.
Right. And kind of get people into the tool and understanding a little bit more. Yeah, it's amazing how we've met tons of PowerPoint people throughout the years, and very few actually think of it as not authoring, but though it is that too, as a graphic tool.
Yep. Yeah, and in Photoshop and all those other programs, I mean, I actually just renewed my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription today, so it's still something that's useful. Just as an end user, as a non-designer, I prefer a simple tool.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
There's my Adobe plug, so they don't hate me.
Yep.
But it's the truth.
Yeah, that is true. And by the way, Bryan was very kind to give us a promotion today. So if you go to www.elearningart.com/relate, RELATE, then you'll have a promotion where you get some free graphics and more. So take a look at that. You can sign up, and it's great. Really, really nice promotion.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, there will be a whole bunch of character images that come with that set. So there's 10 different characters and 10 different poses as a baseline. And you and I, when we get off here, we can add some special bonuses in there as well. But even if somebody signs up right now, they'll have access to as soon as we post it.
Yep, that sounds
today or
good.
tomorrow.
It'll be fun. And keep in mind, this is what people don't realize many times. When you have one graphic image, one avatar, it's really 10 images, because that one can be positioned, done different things to, cropped, trimmed, this, that, put into all sorts of different backgrounds, put them sideways, slightly. You can do all sorts of stuff. So it's not just one image. Be imaginative. You got about 10 or more just out of one.
Yep. That's interesting. One of the other stats that I've been trying to tell people about is like when the stock photo sites, they'll brag about having 10 million, 20 million, 50 million images. That sounds terrible to me. So you have 50 million images you have to sort through to try to find the one perfect one. And what I think, even if you're not looking at eLearningArt images, but you're looking at composited images where the characters are separated from the backgrounds. I think they did the math. It was like 300 different characters with 100 photos each gets you, and 10 backgrounds gets you 44 billion combination of different character scenes that you can create. So you kind of flip it around and say, what is it that I'm looking for? Oh, I want an Asian woman in her 40s talking to an African American man in his 20s, and I want her angry, and I want him sad. You can kind of build that scene instead of searching for one perfect image. You break apart each individual image and you composite that, and it saves a bunch of time. And regardless of what my company is doing, I think that taking that approach in storytelling and image compositing is a big takeaway and time saver.
Time saver. I think that's key. Because you with resizing them, you have everybody else in the background. Like you want to build an office, it really looks like an office. There's 5, 6 people working there just because you put them in the background.
And it creates that perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the hidden costs of stock photography is the image search time. You can end up spending hours looking for the one perfect image.
Yeah, and oftentimes people do, and part of that also is it's hard to find that one perfect image. And people forget, just composite it into something else, change it, and then you have a lot of power and a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, you'll never see my images on a billboard or a magazine spread, because composited images, angles will be just slightly off, where it's not going to be perfect. But for storytelling and for e-learning and for presentations, that's the approach that I think works the best.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So anyway, what else is new in your world? Any plans on stuff you're going to be doing?
Oh yeah, well, I've got my season pass for Squaw Valley ski resort, so I'm excited about that, and then obviously work-wise, the big push on getting the PowerPoint stuff, the word out on that, and continuing to service the members of my site, and that's created a whole new level of pressure to release new things constantly. But overall, I think it's a good thing in driving driving my business forward is knowing that I have these members that have paid for a service and they want new and better things.
Sure.
So that's actually been a nice change.
That's good. Well, Bryan, we're really glad you could come today. And again, he created a special. It's at www.elearningart.com/relate. So definitely go take a look at that. We don't get anything out of this other than we're helping him out, and that makes us happy. So
thanks a lot, Rick.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and thanks for coming on again, and we'll have to have you on again soon. This time we hope you don't disappear quite as soon as you did.
Yeah, hopefully not for 2 years.
Yeah, having babies around can definitely make people disappear, but
yeah.
Well, anyway, we appreciate you coming on again. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. And again, if you're watching, www.elearningart.com/relate. Go take a look at that, and you'll have some nice goodies there. And if you don't have the library, definitely sign up. I think you'll be very happy with what you get. And it's very professionally done. You're going to see that the photo quality is better than anyone else out there. I vouch for that. We've used many different libraries, and Bryan's got just the cleanest of anybody. He's very professional, good-looking models in terms of they fit many different situations. So we've been very happy using it throughout the years. So
thanks so much.
Very
Rick.
versatile.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Bryan, you have a great one, and if you're watching the show, please subscribe. Let us know what you think. If you want to get a hold of Bryan, we'll put that in the show notes. But if they do want to get a hold of you right now, what's the best way?
Probably if they just go to eLearningArt.com, and then on my blog, that's the best way to follow me. Or LinkedIn, if you just search for Bryan Jones eLearningArt. I'm happy to connect there.
Sounds great. Well, Linda, it's always a pleasure, and we will see you guys next week on eLearnChat. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Okay.